Hey everyone, it's Erin from wellplated.com and author of the Well Plated Cookbook. Today I am going to be telling you all about the dish that almost got me kicked out of my first ever holiday with the in-laws. It is cheesy pineapple casserole. If you think cheese and warmed pineapple sounds weird and unappealing, so did I. Did I eventually come around? Let's make it together and find out. The ingredients that you need to make this easy pineapple casserole are panko breadcrumbs, classic Ritz crackers, some melted butter, it's not the holidays without it, extra sharp cheddar cheese, honey, all-purpose flour, and then we are using two different kinds of pineapple. We've got our pineapple chunks and we have our crushed pineapple. Be sure that you look for the kind in 100% pineapple juice, not the heavy syrup, not for this recipe. This pineapple is actually where it all started 10 years ago. I was newly married, spending my first ever holiday away from my family, and I was so sad. I missed my family, and I really, really missed my family's food because my family has the best food at the holidays. Like, don't we all feel that way? I was not in a good place, which was then further exacerbated when someone hands me a dish full of warm, chunky pineapple. What? I am draining the pineapple juice into a bowl. We don't want all of it in the filling or it'll be a little bit too juicy. And then just pour your pineapple right into a mixing bowl. The fact that this pineapple came out of a can was one of the other things that completely threw me off about this recipe. I love making things from scratch, not maybe every night, like we gotta give ourselves a break and take shortcuts here and there, but at the holidays, that's kind of like a from scratch time. And so I thought like, okay, if we're gonna do this pineapple casserole, shouldn't we at least be doing it with fresh pineapple? Come now. You know what? It does not make a difference. Canned pineapple works so well in this recipe. The holidays are already hectic enough. It is just a really nice shortcut to save you some time. You insist on purchasing a fresh pineapple, what you should do with that is make yourself a pina colada, and then you can keep that in the back with you just in case you need a little refresher, especially if you're spending holidays with the family. All right, so to our pineapple chunks, I'm adding our crushed pineapple. Perfect. And now, speaking of juicy juice, I am going to add a little bit of all-purpose flour. I'm fluffing it up like this. That is a great trick to make sure that you don't accidentally pack your flour down too much. Next ingredient in our filling is a 1/4 cup of honey. I am just going to eyeball this. Again, when you are baking a dessert or banana bread, something like that, precise measurements are really, really important. For this recipe, a relative estimate of honey is totally fine. The original recipe for classic Southern pineapple casserole calls for a full cup of sugar. Honestly, I think that is just way too much. It makes this way too sweet. A 1/4 cup of honey is absolutely perfect. All right, back to the holiday table. So I see someone passing me this dish of pineapple, and what does it have on top but lots of gooey cheese? And I just could not wrap my mind around this at all. So my plan was that I was just going to take a teeny tiny little serving of the pineapple casserole and then just sort of push it around my plate with a fork, like we all specialized in when we were toddlers. And then I was just not gonna taste it and get away with it. But who sits down next to me and passes me the pineapple but Aunt Carol? And Aunt Carol is the one who made the pineapple casserole, and she is just over the moon excited because I'm a food blogger, and now the food blogger is going to take a bite. I'm grating up some extra sharp cheddar. That is my favorite kind of cheese to use for any recipe that calls for cheddar. Always go for the extra sharp. You just get a lot more flavor bang for your buck that way. You know what? I'm gonna do a little bit more. At the holidays, you can't have enough cheese. Always make sure that you grate your cheese right off of the block like this. I know the kind in the bags that come pre-shredded looks super tempting because it's really convenient. That kind of cheese is actually coated with a powdery substance, so it doesn't melt as nicely. It's completely worth it to grate your own off the block As an additional bonus, cheese you grate yourself off the block is a lot less expensive. And I don't know about you, but at the holidays, I always find like I'm spending a little bit extra everywhere else. So if I can save $1, that definitely goes a long way for me. I know it's looking a little bit questionable right now. I can see you questioning this, but hang with me. Now we place the filling into the dish like so. I'm using a 9 by 9 inch pan. You don't have to be super scientific about what dish it is. Any casserole dish you have that is roughly this size is going to work great. If you are feeding a crowd, like if you have a lot of people at your party, you also can definitely double this recipe and bake it in a 9 by 13 inch pan. All right, so at this point in the pineapple casserole saga, I have Ben's aunt passing this to me, and not only is she looking at me just very expectantly waiting for the food blogger to take a bite, at this point I have an audience. Like Ben's entire family is staring at me, waiting for me to take a giant scoop of this pineapple casserole. And I took a deep breath because I saw the one part of this recipe that I felt like could bring me some salvation, and that is a buttery cracker topping. If you grew up in the Midwest like I did, then you know that you cannot have a proper casserole without a buttery topping. So I'm starting out with melted butter. I like to add a little bit of panko breadcrumbs, which are a dry Japanese style breadcrumb because they are extra crunchy, and definitely extra crunch in your casserole topping is always a good thing. In addition to the panko, we are adding the one, the only Ritz crackers. I don't know when you last had a Ritz cracker, but they are even more delicious than you remember. As a kid, I used to eat these by the sleeveful. So we're gonna need about 20 crackers, which is about that much of the sleeve. I'm just gonna smash them up in a zip top bag like this. These are my snack later. Seal it up to keep things tidy. The next thing that I'm going to do is crush up the crackers. Normally when I crush up cookies or crackers, I would use a rolling pin. Wine bottle works in a pinch too, but these Ritz are so soft, my fingers are really all that I need. This is also kind of a really nice way to get out any pent of aggression that you might have at the moment. Just take it out on the crackers. You don't have to completely pulverize these. I think it's nice to have them in slightly different sizes so that you get a little bit of a play of texture. This looks pretty good. I've got some larger pieces that are around the size of, say, my fingernail, and then some that are more in fine crumbs. You definitely don't need to get the food processor out for this. Personally, I like to avoid using the food processor unless it's going to make a really big difference. And the bag technique works just fine here. Yum, yum, yum. I'm very excited to eat this. The last ingredient in our topping, remember that pineapple juice? I'm gonna be adding 2 tablespoons. This pineapple juice is loaded with natural sugars, and when sugar is exposed to heat, it caramelizes. So what that is going to do in our topping is add a little bit of sweetness and then also help it to get nicely browned and toasty. It doesn't need to be perfect. You just want to make sure that all the crumbs are evenly moistened. Think you know what comes next? We are going to put the topping all over our casserole. Butter, that just might be the signature scent of the holidays. I'm okay with it. Okay. It looks like a lot, but trust me, go with it. No one will be mad. From here, it goes into the oven at 350 degrees until the topping is golden and the cheese is warm and bubbly. Be right back. Fresh from the oven, I can smell the caramelized notes of the honey and pineapple. That sweetness pairs so beautifully with ham, with turkey, those special main dishes that we love to enjoy around the holidays. And oh, the buttery topping gets me every time. That topping is what persuaded me to try it 10 years ago, got me in with the in-laws, and you know what? Pineapple casserole is fantastic. It has become a treasured part of our Friendsgiving. Most importantly of all, it taught me the importance of not discounting other families' traditions. This is a new tradition of mine, and I hope it becomes one of yours too. If you have special dishes like this pineapple casserole in your family, I would love to hear about them. Please let me know in the comments below. While you're down there, don't forget to like and subscribe for more easy, healthy recipes, and tune in next week. I'm going to be sharing my favorite recipe for leftover turkey, creamy baked turkey tetrazzini. And for dessert, I got you right now. Check out these flourless peanut butter cookies, super easy to make, the perfect treat for the holidays. All right, now I've just got one thing left to do. Now that is well plated.